Disclaimer, I do not dislike CinemaSins, and that is not a lie. For my next Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video, I'm going to be seeing their video on Turning Red. Enjoy the video, everyone.
45 seconds of Luxogos.
Jimmy begins the video complaining about the openings cliche.
The number one rule in my family, honor your parents.
Did your parents not teach you to show, not tell? What kind of parents completely miss warning their kids about the dangers of excessive narration?
Why do you have a problem with narration? Movies need narration so that the audience can know who the main characters are.
But if you take it too far, well, you might forget to honor yourself.
May is quoting someone's wisdom to honor your parents without losing yourself, but who the is giving that advice to a middle schooler?
I see that as good advice because May is saying that you shouldn't be too hard on yourself when trying to make your parents happy.
Luckily, I don't have that problem.
Why is she yelling everything?
She's not. She's just turning her narration into a fourth wall break. Also, this is ironic coming from the guy who, in the words of the Birdman, yells at the screen.
Also, this is apparently going to be one of those movies where pictures come to life and talk directly to the audience.
Yeah, so?
Pencils without erasers.
Pencils without erasers are a real thing, my dude.
I am nervous about this movie. We're 2 minutes in, and there have been about 73 quick cuts and zooms, and May is just a ball of energy that I am not prepared for.
Well, you're gonna have to get prepared for it because there's a lot more energy coming up in this movie, especially from Abby.
Cursive.
Even though cursive has declined in the 21st century, this movie takes place in 2002, so it being shown here makes sense to me.
Also, there is no way this conglomeration of humans pulled off this synchronized slide in from these positions.
But the movie is saying that they did.
Devin's right here.
And free!
On the one hand, I'm glad that this movie isn't portraying horny 8th grade boys panting over girls, but on the other, I think just avoiding this behavior in a movie altogether is wise.
Well, this is a coming-of-age story, and also part of May's character is that she likes boys.
99 Australian tour.
Bootlegging concerts. Would you steal a car? Did Lars from Metallica teach you nothing?
Stealing a car is never brought up in this movie, so what was the point of making that reference?
Hey, Bart. Hey, Lisa.
Making Simpsons references without including a quote from the show. Look, movie, you tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never try.
I really don't understand this criticism, because I don't think that a movie should make a pop culture reference in one specific way.
The red panda.
Cute reveal for us, but would these temple goers be all that impressed? We've seen the interior of this temple, and there are no long hallways for May to suddenly slide in from. She's already in the room, dressed as a red panda.
Well, looking at the room near Ming, I'd assume that that's where May was sliding from.
May tosses out confetti that is somehow magically appearing in her paws.
Which is something that happens in other fantasy films, like this one.
Jin Lee is not my chef friend in this scene.
Are you implying that Jin's food doesn't look delicious? If so, that's, in the words of the Birdman, sinful as shit.
Giving Devin Marge Simpson's pearl necklace instead of nipples. Being a teenage girl must be all sorts of f***ed up.
Okay, I'm a little confused because you had a problem with Shrek having nipples, but here you have a problem with nipples not being drawn.
That hat. Is that the sketchy clerk from the Daisy Mine?
Look, if you recognize the person who your daughter drew from sketches she literally did in seconds, one of two things is true. Either your daughter is such a talented artist that you should probably be investing in art school, or you're in a movie where convenient things happen to cringe the plot forward.
And since art school is never brought up in this movie, the latter is what's happening here, my dude.
Also, giving Devin a full merman tail, but still denying him nipples.
Okay, this time I'm just gonna say that if the movie is saying that this is how May drew Devin, then this is how she drew him.
This will never happen again.
Lying to your mirror.
But May doesn't draw any more pictures of Devin, so she isn't lying to her mirror.
For the love of Luca, Pixar, these Easter egg callbacks to previous Pixar movies are getting weirder and weirder.
That's just what you think about Pixar's Easter eggs, which makes this a recipient for my award.
Guys, what the absolute is going on with this movie right now? Are we trying to make the Pixar kids grow up to love horror movies? Because this is how you do that.
Personally, I don't see what's wrong with people liking both Pixar movies and horror movies. We can all like different things.
Perhaps.
Cut from May's disaster room and newly acquired red hair to a shot of her going to school. Is the idea that her very invasive mother was so distracted by the burning porridge on the stove that she forgets to ask about her daughter's period again? Or her sudden new hair color?
I'd assume that May put the beanie on while she was alone because Ming doesn't learn the truth until she transforms in the classroom.
No, with the time you spent on the extra question mark and 2 little hearts, you could have just spelled your correctly, Miriam.
But did you miss that she also wrote you instead of you?
Much better with the your this time, but now where's the punctuation? You can do both things, Miriam. We believe in you.
I don't think that's needed here because Miriam just wrote a simple sentence on the piece of paper.
Someone in the room turns around to see what the explosion behind them was, because the movie needs to hide May May's secret, even though it will unhide it within the next 10 minutes.
And the reason why they don't turn around is because they were coughing from the pink smoke.
Imagine being a restaurant that serves lunch and this is the sign you made. The sign is a coffee pot that says you can drop in any time, which is a clever take on drip coffee, but the word lunch indicates this is a restaurant dedicated to serving food. That or the restaurant is called lunch, in which case why would your sign be a coffee pot?
First of all, that's a kettle, not a coffee pot. Secondly, people drink coffee when having lunch.
This happened already?
What did you say?
I'm with Mei Mei here. If you know your child will eventually turn into a giant red panda, how is it not something you start to prepare them for?
Well, when Ming later tells Mei that the panda thing happened to her as well, Mei asks her why she didn't warn her about it, and Ming's answer is that she thought she had more time and that if she watched her, she'd see signs and be able to prepare for it.
As you know, our ancestors...
There's no greater tell that we're about to get exposition than when a character utters the phrase, as you know, to people who already know the thing they're about to say out loud to them anyway. They might as well replace the phrase with, as the audience doesn't know.
Well, Ming previously said that Sungyi was a guardian of red pandas, which implies that she had a connection with them.
So, I think it says a lot about Mei's character that she patiently goes to the temple to watch a scroll show about her cursed condition. I'd be under the blanket in my room, combing my face, demanding we skip to the important parts. I mean, sure, the movie needs us to understand why this is happening, but I'm pretty sure Panda Mei just wants to know how to make it stop. And the mom takes way too long to let her know there's a curse clause.
You answered yourself. This is so not just we, the audience, can understand why this is happening, but also for Mei, based on when she asked Ming,
Here.
What's happening to me?
And I will be with you every step of the way.
Which seemed to be a negative trigger for Mei earlier, but you know.
well, she's not embarrassing Mei this time. She's giving her love and support.
Considering this is something you're trying to keep a secret, did you really want to put closed due to family emergency on the sign? Wouldn't that stir up more questions?
Yeah, it's possible, but it doesn't happen, so why are you sinning this?
Smothering your friends in the fur of your adolescence metaphor.
Well, yeah, Mei's in her red panda form, so she's holding her friends in her fur.
Boots, cats, and boots, cats.
Boots and cats and boots and cats? That's not even a Pixar movie.
That's not the point. Miriam's just beatboxing her, even though it sounds like she's saying boots and cats.
What was that?
That was a tiny kid managing to balance the load of a bust and tray table of pop paraphernalia without struggling or dropping anything. That's what.
The part CinemaSins doesn't show you is that Mei scoffs at Ming when walking away, which is why she says, "What was that?"
So is Mei's transformation one big poof, or does it happen body part by body part? I've seen both, but the movie is not helping me figure out why sometimes it takes a while and other times it's all Panda Express.
It is both, and to give you an explanation, it varies depending on how strong Mei's emotions are.
We have now entered the portion of the movie where Mei will sell tickets to let people see her panda, and I have entered the part where I am no longer comfortable assessing this movie as a metaphor. Nope, all right on the surface from here out.
Well, regardless of that, you need to be paying attention and watching the movie, my dude.
Behold the array of old cell phones that will prove the animators did their research.
It's honestly ironic that you're saying this because you yourself need to do research on things when sending movies.
And step 3, hustle this panda and squeeze every last loony out of those kids.
I love how Canada this movie is. It just throws out loony like everyone knows that's Canada's dollar coin. When the truth is, most of you didn't know what it was and thought I accidentally misspelled Looney Tune earlier. I knew it was Looney Tunes, but I was making a subtle joke. And
Another case of Jeremy sending something he likes.
Miriam snaps a picture of the kids with the panda, but then the kids walk away like they didn't want the picture at all, so why snap the shot in the first place?
Well, the reason why the kids are walking away is obviously because they already got their picture taken. How does this not make sense to you? Also, you misspelled Miriam here.
The director of this also directed the Pixar short Bow, and thanks to that flick, I'm now traumatized every time anyone eats one of these steamed buns because you never know whose loved one it might be, so now I'm giving this movie a sin for the way that movie triggered me.
What you're saying here isn't really a mistake that this movie made, so I'll give this my award.
I'll do it. But it'll cost you $200.
Okay.
Look, if you can just SNL Chad and okay to $200, maybe start with that instead of the blackmail.
Well, Mei and Tyler don't like each other at this point in the movie, so he's not going to immediately offer her $200.
What about your mom?
What about all your moms?
Well, when we see Miriam, Priya, and Abby at the party, they don't mention what their mom said about attending, so that probably implies that they all were allowed to go to the party.
This party is playing the cha-cha slide, and while that is certainly extremely 2002, it's also extremely sinnable. One sin this time. Two sins this time. Sin to the left. Sin to the right. Everybody.
I do think Jeremy should explain why this song's sinnable, but I thought this was pretty funny, so I won't add a sin or remove one.
I found this.
A tuft of red panda fur? In the house of a girl who turned into a red panda? How do you know that happened recently and not back when this all began? How do you know that wasn't from an actual red panda that wandered by? You can't pin this on me. I learned it by watching you, okay? I learned it by watching you.
Well, since everyone except for Mei has banished their pandas, why wouldn't we think that the tuft of fur came from Mei's panda?
I haven't said much about the merch options yet because I kept thinking that kids are pretty creative, and they did have cash coming in that could have helped fund their enterprise, but whirling tails that look so specifically panda hairy is just one merch item too far.
Like I've said before, just because you feel that way about it doesn't mean that others also feel the same way, meaning that this isn't a sin.
This isn't a hidden cache, this is an expositional presentation. The underside of this bed couldn't have been set up better for discovery if Kurt Connors had left it as an unsupervised PowerPoint presentation.
This isn't exposition for us, the audience, because we already knew what Mei and her friends were doing.
This flyer indicates that the very first stop on the tour is Toledo, Ohio. Come on, Four Town would be kicking things off in LA or New York, no doubt. Aaron Z and Aaron T would be having none of that Buckeye shit.
But again, that doesn't happen, so why is this a sin?
Also, in this shot, it looks like this 2002 world tour includes a total of 8 dates. 8 dates does not make an official world tour. 8 dates barely makes an official relationship.
What do relationships have to do with this?
She is an animal.
Yep, and you knew that when you helped your middle school child create the poster inviting the panda to your house.
Well, we never see Tyler making the poster, so where are you getting that from?
Nate, tell her.
What? Dude!
Did we actually need a third act conflict cliche to go with the third act misunderstanding cliche? If we get a third act plot twist cliche, the third act trifecta will be complete.
Next.
Did you make this?
Oh, some other kid that can magically anamorph into a period panda made it with her friends who look alarmingly similar to May's best friends. Don't ask dumb questions.
Jeremy says something random cliche.
People have all kinds of sides to them, May.
And when they show their sentimental sides, we skip.
Why are you using your skip sin for this part of the movie? This scene gives us the message of the film, which is that we all have different sides to us, but they should be treated as something good.
The door will open only if we sing from our hearts. It doesn't matter what.
Until I see a ceremony where the door is opened by tub thumping, I'm calling bullshit.
Jeremy says something random cliche.
Also, I hope this isn't a Horton Hears a Who situation. You got that one person that's not really into the ritual.
Next.
Also, no one at this concert reacts to this free-falling girl transforming into a giant panda landing in any way other than nonchalance.
Says no one reacts to May landing. Shows a scene of people coughing from the pink smoke. Nice job.
I love this moment when the friends reject May but then immediately take her back. Such a great use of tension.
Another moment of Jeremy singing something he likes.
You want it. I want it. You want it. I want it. You want it.
I do not want it.
Not a sin there, my dude.
So as the kids run out, the adults run in. What was the conversation at the ticket booth like for them? Hey, my wife is a giant panda and likely attacking everyone inside right now. Yeah, the kids are screaming. Okay, let us in because we do a ritual.
I do agree with your point, but you misspelled adults here.
You want to see crass? What are you doing?
This twerks.
Well, May's doing this to keep Ming in the big circle, so it's not like she's doing something impossible.
This Panda Auntie's moment is kind of fun, but are we seriously suggesting that Auntie 4 could break this jade ring by punching it into her own hand?
Yeah, that is possible to do.
The magic sword only headshots Ming, so why do all the furious furries get to cross into Panda Mention?
I would assume that it's because they're all in the circle. And here's the end result, everybody. The sin total is 178, and the sentence will be failed ritual. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a nice day.